A room with a view of the whole city. Fashion luxury, that's what he's got pretty.
I always have this great hope that when we as guests arrive at a hotel, the hotel has prepared for us, the guests. And for now, it doesn't matter whether one has a status or not, whether one has stayed in a hotel often or is just there for the first time. When a hotel does professional work, it prepares for us, and we deserve to receive a corresponding quality of service. What do I mean by that? In most cases, I arrive at a hotel as a titanium or ambassador member of a hotel group, and it happens that they first don't even know that I am the ambassador, and then upon checking the data, they realize, oh, this is an ambassador use, and yes, then thank you for your loyalty, and that's it. Well, we can't really buy anything for that, and we don't get any more service for it either. The service actually begins when I arrive at a hotel, present my ID, and then there is a sunrise. Because I believe that as a guest, I already bring the sunshine into the hotel, and therefore the hotel should at least offer me a fantastic sunshine service in 2021. Then it is of course also natural that I feel conveyed the message, dear guest, it's nice to have you here. We know that you are an ambassador member, and we have prepared the following things for you. First, a fantastic upgrade. You booked the smallest rate, or we have upgraded you, if possible and available, to a suite, or we have upgraded you to an executive level on the 15th or 16th floor, because normally you had a city view and you had booked this very basic room category. I already feel a sense of joy when I hear something like that. However, I don't want to say it's becoming less common, but there are hotels, and in one such hotel nothing is happening at all. This is of course because the staff did not prepare for me, and the hotel did not prepare for me. This means that the staff are not yet trained to recognize that an ambassador is coming, a VIP guest like a world star. Yes, that is comparable. We are the highest status. So, those who are titanium and ambassador are at the highest status in a program from Marriott Bonvoy, and the promises from the marketing department are huge and gigantic regarding what is possible. Well, and then the basic standard should also be included. This means that what every guest receives, we should also get. Plus, well, what we get in terms of promises, that's why we are loyal and like to return to this hotel chain. 100 bookings, 120 bookings, 200 bookings. I mean, a lot of money comes out of it, and it's usually over $25, $25,000, so it's a nice sum. Well, one is somewhat in this, I don't want to say expectation, but in a state of hope. And when such things are lacking, meaning that this information does not come, then it is difficult. And when someone is standing there at the reception, who might check in a regular guest, it's just the normal, basic standard program under the motto, we have a key, you have booked, your credit card, your details, have a good stay. So, this is the standard service. And if that is all that is left for us, then of course, this information is missing. What is special about this hotel? Because I am now a VIP, so I want to tell this VIP guest about the special features. For example, we have a lounge. I wouldn't have known that at all. Well, I do know, of course, but why isn't this told to me? The lounge, by the way, dear guest, on the first floor is prepared for you and is open from time to time. Yes, look, very simple things that we would like to know. And then, of course, whether there is a sauna, whether there is a swimming pool, when it is open, a gym is usually open 24 hours, and so on. There are so many things. Then we also have a bar upstairs, or for example, a welcome drink that we would like to offer them. So if I have to pull every story out of you, then of course that presents a problem for me. And for me, this issue started off somewhat difficult at this Marriott Bonvoy. Namely, I arrived by car, drove into the underground garage, and realized I was driving around and around and around again. I drove around 10 times, couldn't find a parking space, so I spent a good 20 minutes in this dark parking garage driving around, hoping that someone would leave, and then I got lucky. Someone finally left. So, how is it possible, even though the garage does not belong to Marriott but to the city, that there is no agreement with the city here where one says, look, we would like to have a certain number of parking spaces guaranteed for our hotel guests. This is not possible. Of course, that is possible. I have experienced this in many hotels, especially at Marriott, and also in such huge places like these. These are indeed proper, let's say, business and trade fair hotels. However, it would still bring great joy if something could be prepared for us guests in the automotive area. Of course, there are garages in the surrounding area, yes, but I don't want to drag you here with the suitcase. There is also no valet service, so no one offers something like a value where you can say, I arrive, take my suitcase, and then go inside. These are the American pioneers, and there are the bellboys outside. So these autos, they are gigantic. They come, and the car is there, and then they make money from it. So why can't we do that? Why not create another job? It would be subsidized in today's time. So I have this problem that I have already lost 20 minutes of my life down there, and of course that leads to a bad mood. And after I found this parking space, because a friendly gentleman left, who also said that he had been waiting here and hadn't found anyone, I then headed towards the entrance. Can you imagine that there isn't even a clearly marked entrance for the Marriott Hotel or something like that? Nothing. There's all sorts of information about spas and other things, but you don't know if this is really the entrance to the hotel. They are sparse with information here, so that means reserved. I then went in and briefly asked, is this the way to the Marriott reception? Yes, just go a bit further. So I continued down there and then stood in front of 2 elevators. No information, nothing outside. What, how, whether this elevator leads to the reception or something else? Nothing. So I got in first, and then I come into the elevator and think there should be a sign for reception. Nothing. There is nothing written again. They are so withholding with information that they simply don't label anything. There is no information anywhere. Here you go to the reception or for check-in or to the lobby. You can also speak English. Whatever. Nothing. That was already number 2, which I call frustration when I come to such a hotel. And since I'm already at the hotel, there is a sky bar on the top floor. And I would, for example, if I were the hotel director, I would dedicate one of the 4 elevators, which there are in total, just for going to the sky bar. That makes sense. Let me explain why. When about 100 people are there in the evening, all wanting to go to the sky bar, then the elevator situation is a nightmare. You end up waiting half an hour to get to your room. So it makes sense to create a little route and say that this elevator now goes directly to the sky bar between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. Yes, something like that. And with that, one would provide another good service. Perhaps it is a suggestion for the hotel management. So after I somehow managed to get through this check-in process and had to pull all the information out of them, I thought, okay, I'll go to my room first, drop my things off, and then I'll head to the club lounge. A loveless club lounge that is normally classically furnished. Then they have a fantastic terrace. And what is there? Benches, 2 or 3 benches. And one is practically supposed to, as one guest said, go to these terraces, quickly have a drink, and then quickly leave the lounge. As for the food, they had these small plates. I mean, they were really just underplates, not proper plates. And they have plates. I saw that at breakfast. They put out these small mini plates, so small that you couldn't really refill anything. And there, another guest said that they shouldn't eat so much. Haha, look, we are not stupid. We guests understand that. And of course, I also spoke with these employees, and he was, let's say, somewhat open. One was in his first year of training, and the other, I don't know, maybe in his 3rd year or perhaps even fully trained. But I have to say, it's just the basic theme here. And when I explained that it's a dried or shriveled sausage, those employees actually had no idea that it was like that. They looked at me and thought, why, you can eat that. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't eat dried cheese or dried sausage. I wouldn't eat cold fries either. And as for a schnitzel, it's already enough that it comes from an industrial factory. But the fact that it's not even warm, that you don't even have a plate to eat nicely from. And above all, you can take a beer and maybe white wine and red wine, but in the evening, there isn't even a classic option, like vodka, cognac, or 3 or 4 spirits. Nothing. You just have to pay extra for that. It's almost like America. So these Marriotts, it's quite a tricky situation. They are all so geared towards business and such. And then business travelers know, I have to make sure I get this and that to take with me, but everything else has to be paid for separately. But there are things that are so thoughtless, and this thoughtlessness that they could have placed a few nice chairs outside. The weather is fantastic. We still have 25 degrees in the evening. So from that perspective, this is a kind of service that should be offered to us VIP guests. This is a VIP lounge, an executive lounge. I can't just say, let's do it. Put out some candies, make some kind of warm soup, and then throw in some sort of industrial meat. Well, people eat everything anyway. No, we don't eat everything. And that reminds me of this one wonderful sentence that someone wrote in the comments of mine. These are the qualities of food, like in the lounges, where you end up having diarrhea and need to go to the bathroom. And I have to say, that's really true. I have often just tried something and then had to go to the bathroom because, well, the cleanliness of everything is certainly questionable here, considering what I have seen at the buffet, and not just here, but also in other hotels and lounges everywhere. The cleanliness is becoming increasingly dramatic. So now I will come to the topic of cleanliness. I have done a bit of wiping here. It's actually quite dramatic to show this. This was on the right, and this was on the left. I mean, These are impossible conditions. Cleanliness is something important, or rather, the dramatic state of these hotels nowadays. And I must say, really, the issue of cleanliness is truly abysmal. What came to my mind about this buffet topic was that it was interesting. They called it a sausage platter in the sausage area. On this cold-cut platter, there was, I would say, 80% blood sausage, a slice of ham, a little bit of cooked meat, and a salami. But I mean, 80% just the blood sausage, which has already dried out so much nobody can eat that. So it was really difficult. The rolls were just from breakfast, which means the whole day had already passed, and they were really quite soggy. Well, what can you eat and drink? Actually nothing. So I tried to have an espresso. The espresso machine is set too cold, meaning it should be over 62 degrees, but it was maybe at 50 degrees. The same goes for the sausage platter and everything else there. There is cooling at the bottom, but we know where cooling goes, not upwards. Down means that if the sausage is above the cooling, it will not be cooled. So the cooling must be above it in order for the cooling to fall down. Like these heating plates, which don't always work, but these are things that need to be done. And for that reason, I must say, it was really dramatic. So I hadn't really eaten anything substantial in this lounge, and I asked the young man to get me a bit of ham. The way it was carelessly arranged on the plate made me think, forget it. And then I was in the room, and I thought, now I will set up my Wi-Fi. And unfortunately, there was no information regarding this Wi-Fi thing, such as, you know this from Marriott or Ritz-Carlton or wherever. It says that if you are titanium or ambassador, then you can also book this fast internet. But there was no information here, so I thought, come on, I'll just call the reception downstairs. There is no information in the room about which number I need to dial to reach the reception. I found out it was *1 who would come up with that. Normally, if nothing is written, it would at least be good to have the 0. Most people know that you press 0, and then something goes up at the reception. For example, this morning I wanted to know what time breakfast is served. No one answered the phone. At this time they are not working yet, because on weekends they might only start at 7 o'clock, just like with breakfast. Then someone finally came, but there was no one at the reception who could tell me when breakfast is served. At some point I went downstairs and then I met an employee, and I could see that breakfast was slowly starting. This is all industrial goods of normal business quality, nothing special. They made a fried egg. There are 2001, so coffee and tea varieties. Then there's water, so you have the option, yes, these classic business buffets. There's nothing to complain about. It's not my quality, but at least you can have breakfast there. There isn't much to say about the cleanliness of the rooms. It's a classic dirty business Marriott hotel. You can't look out of the windows. They're so dirty. It's really unbelievable. The curtains here, well, this stuff here, they fall out of the rod when you pull them to make it dark. Nobody cares about it. What I miss about these hotels is that they do not deep clean a room at least once a month. They don't do that. I believe that since COVID, they haven't really cleaned the rooms properly, meaning they haven't done a thorough cleaning. Just like the airports. Yes, the airports too, and the airlines. Nothing is being cleaned anymore. And a thorough cleaning once a month would be a good idea, right? I then received such a treatment. I don't even want to show it. I can only show it in the photo. So, from the side, it was something unoriginal, with nice greetings personally written, which was nice, but I mean a dried lemon, so that means they probably put that thing in here around 2 p.m. But once the room was ready, they placed it in. Good day, Mr. Schroeder. Nice to have you here and your team as well. Honestly, we could also just blow on it. They should leave it. Well, I would leave that out. They should just put a bottle of wine in front of us or something. Fortunately, there was at least a small bottle of water. I then said that it was fine. Otherwise, regarding those coffee things, that's not even an original final espresso. They used even cheaper coffee, which is even less expensive. I don't drink at all. Roundabout. What can I say about this Marriott Bonvoy Hotel? It's a loveless, average, mid-range business trade fair hotel. Here, people come to stay for a quick night, maybe 2, and then they are already on their way again. You can refresh yourself in a pool here. There are a few treatment options available where you can get massages and you can work out in a gym. There is a fairly standard industrial business, breakfast. And the hotel has, if you are on the right side, which was also denied to me, a beautiful view of the Rhine. And I mean, at least you have that in the Sky Lounge. Then you have to say, okay, I might as well book something cheaper so that I don't get annoyed about the poor quality and the dirty rooms. And at least I can say that I got the upgrade here to an exit beauty area, but with a view of this city and a mountain. Yes, it has become more of an industrial city here in Bonn, but not by the beautiful Rhine. I would have been happy, but unfortunately, that wasn't available. The hotel was a bit fully booked, trying its best. We have an ambassador, and we are trying to give him the best. Well, let's assume that this was the best. I stayed here, and I really could have skipped it. I must say, if there is a chance, and the option to come back here, I would say no. And now for you, a room tour, so you have a rough idea of what I'm talking about.